Marking off the first installment in the new series that we have here on this channel, I just want to give a small little breakdown of what to expect. This series will be coming out bi-monthly, flip-flopping with Paranormal College for a Friday time slot. This series will also be focusing on ancient mythology, specifically gods, deities, and their stories. Gonna be a fun little history lesson in a way, but I hope you guys all enjoy. Today's topic will be the Egyptian god of the underworld and spirits, Osiris. Besides being the king of the afterlife, many people do not know that Osiris is said to be the son of the original king of Egypt, Geb, ruling as king during the period in which Egypt was uncivilized and barbaric. Osiris was said to come and teach the Egyptian people agriculture, what to eat, law, order, and the means to worship the gods. Some of the oldest religious texts has Osiris as being one, if not the greatest kings who have ever ruled the land, ruling through kindness, and as he civilized Egypt, he would soon move off to teach others what he had taught there. That's the beginning of the story. A little bit boring, I know, but you gotta get the small details out of the way before you fry the bigger fish. Speaking of fish, did you know that Osiris had his, well, manhood devoured by the cursed Nile fish? It's a little gross, I know. Grosser part is the fact that despite even that, he was able to impregnate his wife. Let's backtrack for a moment. Now, why was his, eaten in the first place, and who exactly is his wife? Well, see, Osiris' brother Seth fell under the typical scar role of this franchise. Jealous of his brother's control over the throne as king, he wished to overtake it for himself. And yeah, I know, Seth is spelled like Seth, but pronounced like Set. It's a little confusing and strange when you have friends named Seth, but this is ancient culture, so I'm going to let that slide. Set also, however, continued to share similarities with Scar in the fact that he also hoped to assume dominance over the then queen. Albeit this form would not exactly fit into a PG rating, especially the part in which the two were siblings. Yeah, a lot of that was going on back then. In fact, Isis, the queen to Osiris' king, was also Osiris' sister too. And no, not the Isis I'm sure many of you are thinking about, or this one. I'm talking about this Isis. There is a difference. Really putting a whole new meaning to the keep it in the family when it comes to royalty though. But let's get back to the Set obsession with the throne. See, in order to take the throne, Set and several conspirators would murder Osiris and place him into the river Nile inside of a coffin. But since this is religion, of course, he is found and brought back by his wife and others, which only angered Set even more. Knowing his brother's body was discovered, Set tore it apart and scattered the 14 pieces across Egypt, which ties back to the fish. After this point, however, it's where Osiris really began to grow in popularity. I don't condone being killed in order to get famous, but in this sense, it kind of worked. Up until this point, Osiris as a god was a little bit of a B or C lister among them all. Only after becoming king of the afterlife, things began to change. It was said that Osiris was willing to accept anyone into the Deity. I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it's the realm equivalent to heaven, nirvana, or Valhalla in the Egyptian belief. Access would be granted to those who lived a good and rightful life on earth and whom was buried under the correct ceremonies. As his popularity grew, so too did his following, as many priests in cities and villages would associate themselves and their community with Osiris. He would later be seen as the god of rebirth and cycle of crops, as well as the daily death and rebirth of the sun. His feud with his brother being symbolized as the constant struggle between the fertile Nile crops and the harsh desert. So, in the end, Osiris kinda came out on top, despite being even further below. Sure, he died, but who else can say that they came back in a new form as the ruler of the afterlife? As an added bonus, his son, you know, the one who was made while not having you-know-what down south, he would grow and soon take over the throne of Egypt, keeping it from his uncle and once more replenishing the Pride Land. Sorry, you have to admit though, there are a lot of similarities between these two stories. Funny enough though, as a side bonus, Osiris' real name was never really known. There are a few alternatives, but the most well-used and the most well-known one was the Greek translation pronounced throughout this video. Weird, I know, but regardless, this is one god down, only a few thousand to go. Write down below what you guys thought about Osiris today, and if you would like to see any more Egyptian gods discussed here. If not, which deity would you like us to look into? Leave all those suggestions in the comments below, and also make sure to hit the subscribe button if you are not not already, I make new videos every Tuesday and Friday all about this weird and interesting stuff you heard about today. Ghosts, monsters, gods, you name it. Also, don't forget to hit the like button or head over to my social media. Twitter and Facebook are great places to contact me if you have any questions or suggestions of your own. My usernames and handles will be written out here, and my links will be in the description below. Thank you so much for staying through until the end of our first Ancient God video. I hope to see you all again soon in the next installment, but until then, stay spooky.